New Caledonia.
I know, I was looking where it was. See, now I have,
Oh, good, the meeting's being, oh, that's like the, one more thing on the computer, that go away.
I got rid of Caledonia and I have the subdivisions regulations draft.
All right, well. Welcome, everybody, to the May 15th town board meeting. I will start the meeting with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so I will open the meeting with the opportunity for privilege of the floor, and Matt Mix, you're up.
I asked a question a while ago about the broadband, gave you a list of things to think about. Have you done your homework and come up with numbers to go along with my questions?
So the privilege of the floor is an opportunity.
I know,
Okay,
you're not
so
gonna talk.
I am gonna talk to you, so hold on. So I referred you to the engineering report, the feasibility study. It does have numbers in there for services and things.
Mhm.
And and I was gonna report, we will be getting, we'll be doing as we move forward. Developing what budgeting for this would look like for the town. We'll do that over the summer, so,
And you're gonna set up a business plan?
yeah. So
Okay.
we've engaged with a firm called Municipal Solutions to do that for us, so we've started the initial discussion, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will be very curious to see where the numbers come up and
As
how
will
some of
we.
my questions can be answered, because what I learned didn't come out good.
Okay.
Second thing that I had on my mind is, we've talked about this trail you have. Has anybody actually walked the old railroad bed in any form?
Yes, I have.
It's a miserable son of a gun, and there's a lot of work that's gonna be done.
We're aware of that.
Okay, because it's gonna be expensive. When I was at the meeting the last time when they were talking about it, I had a realization that hit me that really pissed me off. Is everybody thinks, let's do this, let's do that. I've spent my whole life working, playing volunteer for one organization or another. And I hear complaints, one way or another, this, that, or the other thing. Cemetery, oh, it's not trimmed good enough for the funeral. It's not this, it's not that. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? 4 generations in my family have been involved in the Caroline Cemetery, along with other families of multiple generations too. 34 years of volunteer fireman. I've given my time up for this stuff. People think all this is free and easy. Maybe I wanna go walk some trails. Guess what? Now you won't have any volunteers because there are very few of us left. It's getting worse. I'm one of the younger guys in Sladeville. There's like 3 younger than me. There are a couple ideas I have that may entice a few volunteers in and help keep what's left in the town, but that's besides the point. All I know is that building a trail, the broadband, it's gonna cost money. People have got no clue about the core basics that are needed. I drive down the road, I look at the trees on the lines for the cable, telephone and all that. Within 1,000 feet of Kate's house, there's a tree that big laying right on top of a line. It's been cut off, but it still lays on that line. How many of them before it starts coming down? We've got a line out here, 2 months, hanging by a thread. 2 o'clock in the morning, we get a windstorm, that line comes down. 911, who goes out there? The few of us firemen that are left. Who's gonna take care of getting that fixed? Whose responsibility is it? You guys wanna start a system? Maybe you start here and find out whose responsibility it is to get that line fixed. Cause I'm about this close to calling the Public Service Commission and start raising hell and say, somebody better figure this stuff out. Because line after line after line is buried in trees, and it's a matter of time. Across from Tim's house, behind his house, up the road from your house, down the road from your house. Let's answer these questions before we start building new. There's a line laying in a field right over here. And if that was my hayfield and that went into my hay mower because I wasn't aware of it, I'd be madder than son of a bitch, and somebody'd be paying for a mower, which would be $5,000-6,000 in repairs. Think about that.
Thank you, Matt.
So that's my beef for the night.
Okay, thank
But
you.
these are questions I'm looking for answers for.
Okay, and I gave you, and also thank you for your volunteer service. I really appreciate that. So,
Well, it's about this far and I'm done because physically I can't do it. Mentally, I've had enough of it. And I don't know if there's much, the only reason I didn't quit the fire company and say I've had enough is because I respect the older guys that I'm working with have done it longer than me, and I can't leave them in a lurch. But if they go, I'm done.
understood. Okay. Good night. All right, so, I don't see anybody wishing to speak, online or in Zoom land. So with that, I, don't have any additions, but I do want to make one reorganization to the agenda and front load, the presentation from EIC, AKA Mike Brown, on the community solar, work he's been doing. So with that, I will turn it over to Mike.
Sure. So I represent Energy Independent Carolina. We've been spending some time learning and researching community solar. This is related to our work in the NYSERDA Clean Energy Communities Program and the DEC Climate Smart Communities Program. We are recommending that the board consider registering its municipal electric accounts to community solar. And we're recommending that the town consider running an outreach effort, or in the Clean Energy Communities Program, it's called a community campaign. It's basically to facilitate folks that are interested in the town in community solar with registering their home accounts or their business accounts. And we have chosen Nexamp as the company that we're recommending. So community solar per NYSERDA, they state on their website, community solar allows New Yorkers to save money every month on their electric bills. Unlike traditional solar, where an array is installed on your roof of property, community solar is installed at an off-site location. You can subscribe to a community solar project and receive credits on your electric bill for the clean energy that's being produced. Everyone, including renters, co-op condo owners, can save money by accessing clean energy produced through these farms. And yeah, I'm going off of the documents that I sent earlier today. Any questions about what community solar is or means? Because have anyone done it? Yeah.
Along with developing a community solar electric source, but would you also pursue the generation? You know, like a appropriate sized solar array that would power that, what the town was, so that we'd also be generating what we were using.
So that's a different.
It's totally different, but yet it's the same to me, to my mind, you know, that.
Yeah, I mean, there's distinctions, like, this array on the roof over here is what you just were describing, like the physical array on your property that is your net metering and getting credit for the electricity that's being produced.
Yeah.
This is where there's a solar farm that has been built somewhere in the state, sometimes close by. It is producing electricity and you are subscribing your electric account to it. It's producing electricity. You are basically getting credits from that solar farm that get applied to your bill. and then you have to pay the company for those credits, and they sell them to you at typically a 10% discount, 5 to 10% discount. So you are basically getting your energy from the solar farm, although the electrons are not going from the farm to your home. But you're basically paying for clean energy and you're getting it at a discount. So. Yeah, I had
So
not really,
the community doesn't have to develop its own array. It's already something that's set
Yeah.
up that we just
I think
like
the
contract with.
yes, the community is maybe a bit of a misnomer. They're referring to solar farms that are built offsite.
Mhm.
Companies are basically developing land for solar panels. And power is being generated and you are subscribing your electric account to that farm, getting they basically allocate a certain number of panels for your electric use. They look at if someone was to sign up, they'll look at your NYSEG bill and know how much your annual use is, and then figure out how many panels to allocate to you. And then you get every month credits from the farm applied to your NYSEG bill, which will basically wipe out your NYSEG bill, but then you have to pay for those credits and they sell them to you at a discount. So you're not paying full price for them, you're paying 90% of them, basically.
So Mike, something I didn't understand in the documents is NYSEG's relationship to this. So how does that work?
That's a good question. There are different projects. There are different companies that are building solar farms. And not all of them are available in NYSEG territory. Some of them are available to just other utilities. This question I'm not sure about. Basically, I think the state is allowing and encouraging community solar to be developed. I don't know how NYSEG then relates to the companies, but they have.
So does NYSEG still deliver the power?
Yes, yes.
That's what I just couldn't figure it out.
And they, I think, depending on the billing, actually will tap into the solar farm and
Okay.
figure out how much solar was produced by the
Right.
farm that month to then figure out how many credits get applied to your bill. So, I guess at a very high level, this is a way to get your electricity from a renewable source. And you're not paying, you're basically doing it at a discount, so you're saving money. And they advertise typically 5 to 10% annually, average over the year, because the solar production in these farms will vary. You'll have more during the summer, so more credits are getting applied during the summer than in the winter, and so it sort of averages out over the course of a year. So you're getting renewable energy at a discount, and this is useful for folks who can't afford to put solar panels on their house, or not able, or not on a site where solar will work, or if you're a renter and you don't own your property, this is a way for people to basically participate in clean energy market and make use of it. And I think the big thing is being able to save a bit of money as well, given electricity prices are going up. So
Is savings guaranteed? Something happens in the price of natural gas tanks. And all of a sudden, the big electric plants that run on natural gas are way cheaper than the solar. Is that a possibility? I mean, is it guaranteed that the municipal community system would save money, or is it just using the current market conditions?
We get a guaranteed discount.
yeah, you get, it's basically within your contract that whatever you are paying to NYSEG, you're gonna get a
Okay,
10%.
so there is a guaranteed.
I think so.
I believe so, yeah, this is what they advertise,
So you sign a contract for like a year or something and,
it's
Yeah, okay.
sort of like in perpetuity, but you can cancel whenever you want.
okay,
So, and they might ask for like depends on if it's a normal resident or if it's a municipal account, it's the time that they ask to be given a heads up for, but it's,
So Mike, the community solar they're basically an ESCO, right?
I think they like to be distinguished from ESCOs. That's often a frequently asked question.
But functionally, they would be plugged in as your supplier.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I'm not sure what the distinction is, but I often will see, are you an ESCO?
They don't like to be called
They're
that.
not ESCOs.
Well-
About that.
Structurally, that's what they are.
In a way, but then if they don't supply your entire
is it guaranteed that they're supplying your entire energy?
I think they typically size the array so that they're not allowed to oversupply.
I see what you're saying.
And
Yeah.
so they will size the array to be like 90% of your
Right.
annual.
So then there's
Okay.
still the chance that, you're gonna need
I gotcha.
Yeah,
the equivalent of an ESCO.
And you have to maintain that.
Yeah, or it could just be through NICEAG.
Right,
So
and they
that's
work with
top.
ESCOs as well, like we
Yeah.
discovered when through Nexamp, basically looking at all the municipal accounts. They were like, oh, you have some of these accounts have an ESCO on them, which
Yeah.
confused them a little bit, but anyways, they work. Anything that NICEAG is charging you, you get a 10% discount off of that.
Hmm.
So.
that would be good.
So, yeah, I mean, it is for a normal person who's paying, I don't know, in the order of like $1,000 a year for electricity, you're gonna save $100. But you're also getting your electricity from solar farm, so. Some people might say it's not worth the hassle, and there are some hassles here that I want to go over, but in terms of like billing and things like that, but, some people might say it's not worth it, but some people might say, hey, that's useful,
They want to
Some people
support
find-
solar energy.
But that,
They want to support solar energy.
yeah.
Yeah,
And get $100.
Yeah, $100 a year. So as I mentioned, Caroline is designated as a clean energy community in the Clean Energy Community Program. That's NYSERDA. And we're certified bronze as a climate smart community. And community solar is relevant to both of these programs. Registering municipal electric accounts to community solar is an action within the Clean Energy Communities Program that you can get points for and then get grants as you accumulate points and complete actions. And running a community solar campaign is an action in both programs. And if you recall, the town ran a heat pump community campaign a few years ago. This is very similar to that. We're basically trying to facilitate folks with, if they're interested in this, pointing them to resources and basically plugging them into pursuing this kind of stuff. So we looked, this is EIC, we searched for community solar providers, but NYSERDA has a whole list. You go to the map, choose NICEAG, and you get a whole list of companies. And I went and I found which companies have a bunch of active or projects listed on the map, and we found a handful of them. They were Delaware River Solar, Nexamp, and Power Market. And so we interviewed all three of them, and I sent you in Nexamp's proposal, they answered the questions that we sent them. But these are the questions that we sent to all of them, and they all answered them in some form. Both Nexamp and Power Market provided the strongest proposals. The similarities between them were the wait times, although I want to have an update on that at the end. Nexamp is basically saying, it's like if someone says, I want to sign up for community solar, it might be about 3 months before they get put onto a project. And then, which is a solar farm. And then it might be another few months before the credits start getting generated and applied.
is that because they're gonna build something or because they're waiting for someone to stop?
So, yeah, they don't have, what got clarified in the past few days, they don't actually have any. All their active projects are like full
Or full?
in NICEAG territory. However, they are saying we are the largest community solar provider in the country. We have projects in the pipeline coming online in the fall. And I'm sort of getting ahead of myself, but they have said it's really, basically they have a wait list and people are just constantly like being added to projects, or maybe the renters and they're moving and they're getting taken off projects. So the wait list is constantly just changing, and so people are getting added as people come off. But they're also adding new projects.
Yeah,
As well,
the
building.
combinations, yeah.
And they said, maybe it's because I've been bugging them so much, but they said, we will put any Caroline subscribers on a VIP list and move them to the front of the wait list. So anybody who signs up is to be at the front and get to sign up.
Get to be VIPs.
And they're telling everybody they talk to the same.
I wanted,
You're right.
Yeah,
so that's one of the things I wanted to, there are some things that people get frustrated about over community solar.
it just takes a while to
It
get.
can take a while to get added to a project. And the billing can be confusing. I can go over that in a second, but so they have similar wait times. Power Market was saying they have a project coming online in July. And at the time, like maybe a month and a half ago, it seemed like, okay, these are like equivalent timelines. 3 months versus July. Now, Power Market being added to a project in July, maybe is more attractive. But anyways, we ultimately win the next. Both companies are offering 10% annual savings for the town accounts and market rate customers, which is like normal folks. Both can register a majority of the town accounts for similar savings. Nexamp said the town would save about $750 a year. Power Market said 900. In theory, they should all be the same. This is how they estimate the annual usage of these accounts. And both of them offer robust support for running a community campaign. Both of them said, we can send out a mailer, we'll provide you with marketing materials, we'll provide you with a online portal where people, when they sign up, they'll go to like the Town of Caroline portal. So that, and it's easy to track participants, because if we want to get credit for this action through the Clean Energy Communities Program, we have to count participants, basically. Something I didn't mention about the campaign, basically the mutual beneficial thing here is the town is providing outreach to residents who might be interested in this and providing them with this opportunity. In return, if 10 folks sign up for community solar, we will get points in the Clean Energy Community Program and get a $5,000 grant. If another 50 sign up, I think it's another $10,000 for the town.
Where does the money go towards?
So that's,
We have to figure that out.
Oh,
yeah, so this is something that the town could decide, where the town has gotten multiple grants through our program, the Clean Energy Communities Program. You got a $5,000 check for completing the heat pump campaign. You got probably $5,000, a lot of money in the initial version of the program for just completing 4 actions, I think.
Yeah, that was 100,000.
Or yeah, and that's what funded the Brighten Up Caroline and the LED streetlights, so. The CEC, Clean Energy Communities grant money has been used a lot at the town. So by having folks sign up, you get additional points and grant money in that program. So the main differences between the two companies, Power Market offers a consolidated billing thing. So basically you just get a single bill from NYSEG with the credits applied, which is really probably nice for folks. Nexamp does not do that. Customers are going to get a bill from NYSEG and a bill from Nexamp. And I could talk about the ramifications of that. However, Nexamp offers, this was the deciding factor for us in choosing Nexamp. They offer 20% annual savings to low to moderate income folks. Power Market had no LMI incentive. And so we, at one point in our meeting, figured that 30% of households in the town are LMI, and thought that we would want to promote the savings over maybe complications with a more complex billing scheme. Nexamp is also offering residents a $75 reward for signing up, or like a Visa card. And they're also offering the town $75 for every sign up as a referral reward. And so they said that they can either pay that to the town, or we can choose like the community center or the farmer's market, and they'll pay the money to them. So there's that incentive as well. And Power Market did not have that.
Mike, does this apply to both residential and commercial accounts?
Good question. If they would, because the town has like 7 accounts, so I don't know. We could ask them. They maybe have grown tired of me trying to get it. It was originally $50, and I asked them. So, I've been hacked. So maybe, I don't know, you can ask them, but it's mainly for, I think they're mainly intending it for like residents and businesses. So
I think so.
So we felt that Nexamp's incentive, LMI, low and moderate income incentives, and the sign up and referral rewards outweighed Power Market's consolidated billing option.
Yeah, before that, the committee was really
They were really on Power Market.
they were endorsing power.
Yeah.
With the other one.
Yeah, Power Market, yeah. I mean, the timing was weird because we had Power Market and the other company, Delaware River Solar, interviewed the same night, and everyone was really excited about Power Market. And then we had Nexamp interview on the next week, and people were like, oh, okay. It was still, I would say that these companies are nearly equivalent. We just thought that prioritizing the 20% savings for folks made more sense.
How do they determine the low and moderate income?
So I sent in my packet of information, they have a chart. What was that?
There's a chart.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on,
So some people do the, I mean, there are different incomes, like there's a state where they don't count social security, and I mean, there's all this different.
they gave a whole list, and I don't have it in front of me, but various ways that you can prove LMI status. Which is like 80% of, I think it's the
Poverty rate.
mean income or something
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
Median income for the town.
Median income. We don't fall within the town doesn't fall within a disadvantaged community as defined by NYSERDA. So there's so some communities, they can just say, oh, is your address within the NYSERDA disadvantaged community map? In this case, you can present some sort of letter from various assistance programs that you qualify as LMI.
Okay,
I provided that's in the packet, but it seemed like there was lots of different ways that you could show it.
If we went with them, is there a way, could you imagine a way that the town could help facilitate that process?
Yeah,
Cause I could imagine that being really terrifying to people.
yeah. It's something that this could be a focus of the community, or a priority of the community campaign, is that that could be, I mean, the structure of the community campaign is that we would probably do a mailing to let people know about it, and that would be funded by Nexamp. I think we have a lot of flexibility with the letter that goes out. We can say anything we want, essentially. And then they've offered to do webinars as well. And we could do our own webinar and talk to people about some of the frequently asked questions, like how do I show my status, and then also how do you interpret the bill? What does a typical bill look like? That kind of thing. So we could have our own information provided. I feel like that's the sort of exciting piece of all this is interfacing with folks and providing them with information so they can make a good decision about it.
Do you think the rate reduction is enough incentive to get people to switch?
Switch
Or is it
from
The 10%?
to, you know,
that's probably a mix, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
yeah,
because there's numbers about, you know, people won't switch something until there's a certain, you know, a certain incentive.
yeah, I guess we'll have to see.
Okay, that's fair.
It'll be interesting. I mean, ultimately, I guess I'm viewing the community campaign at least as like just providing, I did not know really about community solar until I started reading about it, and it is a program that is, I mean, I'm sure these companies are making money off of this, but this is a way to,
They wouldn't be doing it if they were.
yeah, this is a way to help folks a little bit with ever increasing electricity bills and promote solar. And if people are skittish about solar, like solar installations within the town, this is not that. This is like, it is somewhere else, and
Yeah,
it's
Definitely NIMBY.
yeah.
so there's that. I mean, I guess arguments could be made like, well, we are offloading our solar needs to another community, but that community decided to have a
yeah,
farm.
one of the things that bugs me about it is a lot of excellent farmland gets covered over. There's all sorts of things going on with agrivoltaics and,
Yeah.
you know,
So that was one of the questions we asked all of them was, because I think it's a concern of it's a good concern, and I think a lot of people share it. Where is it? I said, please provide 2 to 3 sentences describing the types of land your company develops for community solar projects. And so they said, when identifying our solar projects, we look for sites where it's possible to interconnect to the utility grid, which is often
Yeah.
the most exciting part of this, while having minimal, and keep in mind, this is a company just probably massaging or knowing what to say.
oh, yeah.
But while having minimal impact on the natural state of the land, additionally, we own and operate all of our solar projects and manage every stage of the process. In many cases, solar farming represents an opportunity for low impact use that has a positive effect on climate change. while allowing landowners to generate new income and preserve the rest of their land. So that's their take on it. I have seen,
So you've asked about it and got answers about it. Good.
yeah, I didn't really notice a difference in the different companies answer that question. I mean, I have seen studies or read things that like putting solar on farmland is a good sort of temporary hold on the land. It's not negatively impacting it, despite what people might say about leaching chemicals. So it keeps the farmland preserved to a certain extent for future farming, as opposed to putting buildings on top of it.
Right.
So, yes, so I think the possible issues with all of this is that people can get confused about the two-bill system. I think the billing in general, people are like, it can be a bit confusing because the credits that are generated are lagged by a few months, so like I don't know, I guess you'll see credits being applied on your bill for 1 month, but they're from a different month, if that makes, I think it takes them a while to apply the credits to your bill, so it's a little bit tricky to sort of be like, okay, this month I paid this much, and I had this many credits. You either have to sort of go with the flow, or you have to be really into trying to track it. So there's that, people can get confused, and I think people can also be frustrated by saying, okay, I signed up, when am I gonna be added to a project? So there's that as well, and but I guess I feel if you make those, if you address those concerns with a focused campaign, you can head off potential frustration.
But there'll be no cost to the consumer.
There's no
for
cost.
signing up,
No,
so they have no
Right.
risk.
Mhm.
yeah, I think, yeah,
But most of it's the time to read through it and figure out if they want to do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I was offered, our church had a community solar outreach,
mhm,
and I didn't look at it because I get overwhelmed with
yeah,
choices, and I just was like, I'm already set, you know,
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see how the outreach works.
yeah, and I guess I should say that, I know there are communities that have run these campaigns and, so for my job at Cooperative Extension, I actually work with the Clean Energy Communities Program. And I assist the town of Hector, they have run a very successful community solar campaign, Village of Montour Falls. I've also done it, communities are doing this and, having success with it.
My in-laws in Cortlandville signed up for it
Oh, yeah?
some time ago.
Cool. Yeah,
I mean, I know other people that have signed up.
Yeah.
It's easy.
and it is a NYSERDA approved action for whatever that's worth, that it is something that they are saying is worthwhile to pursue.
Well, I'm glad I have another chance
Yeah,
to sign up.
yeah,
We kind of talked about, the possibility of doing a non-exclusive community campaign.
mhm.
Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, so I have some additional thoughts, notes, that I made today. In the past few days, Nexamp has clarified their timeline a bit. It's not necessarily the like 1 to 3 month wait period. That's possible. But it's really dependent for these they're currently all full. That it could be a bit longer.
Okay.
So they have clarified. And actually, when I looked at their answers to the questions, they did say that we don't have any open, we're basically backfilling or we're waiting for people to come
Yeah.
off the list and then add people to it. So,
What do you mean by non-exclusive community campaign?
Where we could basically say, well, so we interviewed 3 companies that do this.
Oh, I see, and then.
We could say, well, these companies here are their virtues, here's what they can offer you. This one offers 20%.
Okay, so you could choose which one you want?
Yeah.
Which one you wanted to go, okay.
yeah, I mean, I think that's good. And I think actually probably the intention of these campaigns is that you don't necessarily pick one company to go with.
Huh.
It's a little awkward where if they're gonna do a mailing for us, or we could choose not to do the mailing, but they would pay for
Mhm.
the mailing.
They pay for the mailing?
They would, But
We're not gonna pay for mail-in advertising. so
no,
it's-
they won't, but it's the kind of thing where you could say, you could maybe be creative and like get them to go to the town website where there's more information. Like have the next temp letter say, if you wanna sign up, click on this QR code or go to the town, and that's where we can say. Where about community solar is and say, there's many companies here, here's a list and you can consider your options, or I could give the table that I presented EIC with like the pros and cons in different categories.
This came up because one of the representatives for one of the companies we interviewed told you, right? Or Chris?
Chris, yeah.
Told Chris, we had no expectation of being exclusive.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I mean, I think they are
So-
like, we have projects that we are trying to fill. They are probably losing money if they don't have people subscribe to their farms.
And maybe subscribers like the idea of being able to choose. So you get a higher
Yeah.
subscription.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
Mhm.
for
I
whatever.
liked it until I heard what Kate said about getting overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Well, that is a problem. I mean, when you go to the NYSERDA website, they have like 10 companies and that's overwhelming. In this case, we could creatively, and I'm not sure how it would work exactly with Nexamp, but mention 2 other companies or something. Power Market is pretty attractive, although they were saying that they were really trying to push us to make a decision on them because they were filling up that. He said, we only have room for like another 50 people. So they're not as big as Nexamp, but they had a project that was going live in July. So Nexamp clarified the timeline a bit, but they do have projects going live this fall. The LMI farm, so if you're trying to get to 20%, I think the way they design these farms is like one farm is market rate and it's getting this incentive, and then they probably have a farm that's like however they're funding these farms is then you're gonna have the 20% for the LMI folks. Anyways, that one's going live in October. So if you wanted to sign up today, you'd have to wait until October to get onto a project. Maybe that is worth it to you, maybe not. And then they mentioned that VIP list. And then regarding the town accounts, they had trouble determining 852 Valley Road. Because although a lot of the accounts had an ESCO, but they had particular trouble with that one. And actually they asked me to look into like what's going on with that account, because they're wondering if there's something unique about the ESCO.
What number was it?
852 Valley Road, which actually has 2 accounts.
It's the two town barn accounts.
Oh, okay.
So there's like there's a building and then there's a light.
There's 2 services there, because there was an old, residential, well, whatever, it's the 2.
Yeah.
They have it. but
2 meters for
There's
highway barns.
so they had trouble, but they had me go and add up. I went and looked at all the NYSEG bills for the past year, and they were able to give an estimate on the savings. So anyways, and then my final point is there's multiple providers. We could do a non-exclusive campaign with maybe a focus on Nexamp, but show folks that they have options. Yeah, so that was my agenda was just to notify you that we interviewed companies. I think we found one that suits the needs if you were to look at the entire community. If you're a market rate person, maybe Power Market makes the most sense for you because it's consolidated billing. But if we wanted to make a single recommendation, it would be going with Nexamp. Or so yeah, I think the next step is just you all considering that and if you want to do that kind of thing.
Okay. And then you were, I had asked about whether the CCA would be a problem or anything. Probably not, but I'd be interested to know if you can find out anything.
And so I will talk with someone on Friday about that. This is community choice aggregation or
Yeah.
and I have seen reference to a component of that where people are in an opt-out community solar as part of the community choice aggregation. So there's, I guess, the potential for, I guess the concern was, what if you have a bunch of people sign up for community solar? And then you want to do a community choice aggregation program? What happens with these people that sign up for community solar? So I have a feeling it's a non-issue, but we should confirm that. And I guess the final document I sent was a draft of the scoping document that has to get submitted to NYSERDA if we want to run a campaign. That's the first step is, it's basically just an outline of what's the plan for the campaign, who would be in charge of running it, who might our partners be. And that would be the town and EIC and Cornell Cooperative Extension, and maybe anybody like the community centers if they want to hang posters, and then any ideas for outreach events. So there would be mailing and posts to Facebook and a webinar, something like that.
Mike, are any of these solar farms doing battery storage, some sort of storage for,
I don't know, I'm not sure. Yeah,
Just a question.
yeah. I mean, as part of the New York's climate plan, climate law, there's gonna be some sort of mandate for the amount of clean energy that's getting produced, and so I think a lot of these companies this is part of the strategy for New York is to.
Some areas of the country, they got so much solar generation, they don't know what to do with it. They're dumping it in the ground out in California.
Yeah.
Seems sad.
Anyways,
Great. Any other questions for Mike? So, yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any deadlines we have to think about?
yeah.
there is, the town is really close to, well, we're definitely gonna get a $10,000 grant through the Clean Energy Communities Program. We just have to submit one action that has already been completed. Cliff's co-training certificate. The town, once we do that and submit one other action, we're gonna be like 100 points away from a $50,000 grant. And so this community campaign could be a quick way to get those points and get that grant. So, and I have heard that the Clean Energy Communities Program is, so they just announced in December, a new version of their new iteration of the program. It was like $25 million, and that's spread across the state. All these communities are trying to compete for that money, and that's running out quickly. So I don't know when the pot is basically going to run out. But so I guess the deadline is, at some point the money is going to run out, and
ASAP.
yeah, but there's not, I guess, an acute rush for it.
Well, it seems like we have a lot of information, so maybe by the next meeting, we could, kind of percolate on it and make a decision.
Yeah.
Especially for the town accounts, we should just go ahead
Yeah.
and do something.
I think so too.
I think so.
So, cool, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just to follow up on my comments,
Okay,
this is all gonna be a moot point because you're gonna have your corner pole laying in 79. The cable that I saw hanging, I was gonna bring to you, guess what? It's that big around, it's the guide wire cable that holds the pole up. Somebody needs to call NYSEG and get it taken care of. Cause that pole's gonna do this.
yeah, so I did call NYSEG when the tree hit the line, so they were out, I'm sure they know about all this, and,
If they knew about it, they would have fixed it. They
Okay.
didn't even pay attention. They sent out a tree crew or a line crew just to fix it. That appears to me as the guide wire cable. It goes clear back to the creek. Across the whole field, so it doesn't bother the field. That big around. And I think it's one that if you look at the base of the pole, you can see where it's inched a little bit in the soil. So,
Matt, while it's still daylight, can you go out and copy down the poll ID numbers and give them to me, and I'll bug them in the morning too? And maybe Mark calls or have already called them, but hey,
Okay, but I mean-
squeaky wheel sometimes gets greased.
nobody's paying attention to this stuff and here I have to deal with it. I don't want to, but I will.
I called him Matt. Just so you're more.
Mike, do you see any drawbacks?
Do I see any drawbacks? I think the only drawback is, I guess my concern throughout has been having the town put his name on something that could possibly frustrate folks. So, frustration being someone signs up for this and then they get the bill is complicated and they didn't realize that it was gonna.
They just wish they hadn't, yeah.
Well, I guess they're like, I don't know how to.
Well, can they give us, have they given you examples of the bills?
That has definitely been, I've asked for it, and they would do it, I don't have it.
Because it would be helpful, because then in the campaign, you would just show people what to expect.
It
Right, I
can't
mean,
be any worse
especially
than a
if it's not-
telephone bill.
If it's not exclusive, we can say, hey, you know, this is the easy bill, this one saves you a little bit more money, but
Yeah.
it's more confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's timely. I've had a couple people talk to me today actually about there's they're getting squeezed a little bit for money because the federal program that helps pay for cable, right?
Mhm.
Has stopped.
Yeah.
And it's $35 a month, but you know,
That's
saving
a lot.
$10 or $15 for electricity would help. So.
Yeah, and I think about Boise-ville, you know, I guess renters who are not able to partake in solar.
Mhm.
This is an opportunity for them to.
Depending if they pay their own electric or not, I don't know if they do.
That's true.
I don't know if they
What's that, Tim?
depending on whether they pay their own electric or not.
Bill or.
They do.
it's kind of.
They definitely
Do
do.
they?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Yeah.
have a meter for each. Okay.
Yeah, they pay their own.
Yeah, so this is a way for renters to.
Sure.
To take advantage of solar.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a really good.
Yeah, and I just don't have the land or
That's it,
the.
yeah, we're very shaded or whatever.
Yeah, the shade, the big tree up front. I mean, I could cut it down, but then I have to get air conditioning.
Yeah.
Putting in solar is really expensive. and
Yes,
so
yeah.
most people can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
At some point, you might consider doing another solar campaign. I don't know, the Solarize campaign could be the next EIC thing, but because there are new incentives now with the Inflation Reduction Act to help folks, but.
And I just heard of some engineering advances that could really improve the performance of solar panels, like they've doubled the output of them. I mean, it may take a couple of years, but.
Solar is obviously competitive if we can do that,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
What was that?
It is now.
Proof is in the
Yeah.
pudding,
Yeah, yeah,
so.
so,
Thanks for doing all this.
yeah,
yeah, thanks, Mike.
yeah,
Yeah, it was an
Yeah.
excellent presentation. Thank you.
thanks.
He's been dealing back and forth with all these companies and stuff. It's been great.
They might be, I think they're a little tired of hearing from me.
Maybe you could ask them
Keep it up.
80 instead of 75.
I think the final straw was when I asked if we could just combine instead of giving the town 75, we would just give everybody 150.
Oh, yeah, what did they say to that?
I think they said, sorry, these are coming from two different like accounts
Oh,
or
okay.
whatever, and
Oh,
so
okay.
we can't do that.
Yeah,
Oh.
good. Okay,
Thank you.
Yep,
thanks so much, Mike.
see you later.
See you later. Okay, something to think about. So we need to not let that drop after the meeting and kind of make a
That was an
decision.
excellent presentation.
Great, okay, so I will move on to my supervisor's report with this August group. So in my correspondence of note, we received a letter from Barb Cohn. I read it as supporting more funding for the inventory work by Julie Gross. And I will hesitate there and I think call for discussion now. I think, so there are two items, two issues that I think that we should address. That one, so the account, Barb budgeted 4,000 for Julie's inventory work, and that is spent out now. So that's really what's happened. And then on a smaller note or whatever, somewhat related, I guess, but Julie is asking for Flickr account. And so she's gonna wanna know whether we'll authorize that or not. So I think we should discuss that too. So I I can start the discussion myself, or I have.
I mean, I happened to do the bills this week
Oh, yeah,
and
I saw that too. Do you
I
have a
actually took
photo?
a photograph of
I was just thinking, I wish I had it here.
Shirley's invoice. And what surprised me is very little of it was for inventory work. And I've been quite supportive of the inventory work, which I thought we had funded according to the request. But a lot of her bills are for visitors. Some of them are on Saturday and Sunday, some of them appear to be not on Saturday and Sunday, so it appears that she's making independent appointments with people.
Which is fine.
Which is fine, but that's not what we
That's right.
had agreed to budget for. And then a lot of it also appears to be recently to organize photographs into thematic areas and upload them on the internet, which he shared with the history group. And it's not clear to me that that's the kind of inventory work. I mean, Barb in her note was quite explicit about what the inventory work was, and almost nothing in the invoice reflects that. So, I mean, my concern is that there seems to be two different things happening. You know, one is the budgeted inventory work, and it appears that but the other is the charging for hours that aren't inventory that then ate up the inventory
Mhm.
budget,
Yeah, it would seem that
which
it
wasn't in
wasn't
our.
clear. It would seem that it wasn't clear to Shuli that it's for inventory only, and possibly that wasn't communicated to her, or she hasn't had much supervision from the town historian.
Well, that's yet another issue.
Yes,
Mhm.
So the question, I mean, one question is we could continue to open the spigots and just pour whatever money is asked for into this. Or we could say, this is what we were asked to do, this is what we did. And come back to us next year.
Thank you.
That would be the way I would,
Just send it to him,
Go.
text message.
And how is that? I didn't.
Well, maybe I'll wait, because it's hard to be concentrated.
It'll get there.
Too bad Bob Pearson still.
Thanks.
I sometimes know how to do this right. See ya.
See ya.
Good night.
My tendency, I mean, anyway, I think you should explain nicely that she's used up the money that was budgeted, and unfortunately, it wasn't used for inventory work. And then come to us with another proposal for next year. I mean, when it's time to do that.
how, can someone refresh my memory on the money that was budgeted was less for this year than it was the year before, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay,
We talked about this at budget time.
right,
And
I'm trying to remember back to that,
that was very explicit.
yes.
So,
And my understanding was, when we made that decision, we understood that it was, that it was an end, it wasn't going to be renewed
Yeah.
annually,
And it wasn't going ongoing.
Yeah,
right?
and I know, and I believe they knew that too, because we were really lobbied by Shuli.
that's right. We discussed
And we
this.
discussed all this then, and I kind of think they figured they would just do it and see,
Yeah. So here's what I think. I think we're done with the inventory work. Barb had a plan to do this. She hired Shuli. Shuli went, hardcore on it last year and did a great job. And the place is looking great. It's well organized. And inventory is just one of the many little things that are involved in the historian's work up there. And so I just think it's time to close that chapter, say that's done, and move on. And I think we know that there are so many people in this community that are so excited about town history and so many volunteers. I just think they're, that they should be tapped. And, the model that I think of is the reading room. Why? That's managed so well, and, I think we should think about something like that, but I do think that this whole, this would be a good discussion for the history room advisory committee to have, but, I feel like we budgeted for this work and it's done, and I think we should move on.
Well, I mean, when I read Barbara's letter, I don't have it, I mean, I could open it up in front of me again, but I think what she said was that they were preparing to do the inventory work. So in other words, the organization that was done last year was just to get ready to do the inventory work. And now they're ready to do the inventory work because everything's organized.
Oh, that's not at all my understanding, so,
But,
no.
are you looking up her letter?
Mhm.
All right, so you can just tell me what.
I should have brought it.
Gotta pull the subdivision stuff up.
I would still maintain that that's all.
So-
Could be done.
Shall
as
we
part
read
of
it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you got it?
See if I,
Dear Town Board, to whom it may concern, Shuli Gross has been working in the history room for the past year and has done an exceptional job organizing the room and its artifacts for the inventory process.
so that's what I meant, for the inventory process. So for me, it's not doing the inventory, that's getting ready to do the inventory process. But I might be misinterpreting what she wrote.
I was under the impression she would be able to be helping during the present year as we try to accomplish the inventory.
So,
Okay.
Managing the inventory really takes two people. We must check the item in each box, photograph the item, write the description, name the donor, date, and other pertinent information in the Ascensions book, and then make sure the item is protected properly and replaced in the box. Photo of the item and listing of the item are then fastened to the outside of the box, which is numbered and labeled accordingly. When Shuli is no longer working at the history room, the room will not be open to the public on Saturday and Sunday as it is currently. The community has become more appreciative of the history of the town of Caroline due to her creative displays, articles, and time she has attended to the history room. She is creative, helpful, and a willing worker. She could be an asset to any organization with which she is involved. The history room would like to have her stay to help complete the inventory. Respectfully submitted, Barb Cohn.
So, yeah,
I think she's done a good job and she's worked hard. I think part of the question though is there are a lot of people that work for the town and there are volunteers that could be involved. And I do wonder about, I mean, the history committee is working on decisions that have been made and things like this, but I mean, it's not that. I think she hasn't done a good job. I think she's done a really good job.
nobody has ever
Right,
said that.
exactly. I wanna be really clear on that.
that's not the issue.
That's
at
not
all.
the issue.
Yeah.
And I'm responding to Barbara's letter,
I see.
how well she did,
Yeah,
and I agree with that. But I just don't see shifting the budget at this point.
So and
How far
don't
is-
forget, last year, we budgeted, I believe, it was $15,000.
Yeah.
Right?
The year before.
So
Yeah, they were,
whatever you want to call it, you can call it whatever you want, but that work was budgeted for and accomplished. And Barb said $4,000 will complete that this year. And I think the letter, thanks for reading that, Cal. I mean, opening the history room, that's what Jen does. That's, and as well, and I just think, if if we want to appoint Shuley as a second deputy or something like that, that's fine. But that's not, I don't think, I mean, I think we have to be honest, there's a real, you know, unfairness here in compensation for Jen and Shuley. Jen doesn't have the time to do all the things that Shuley does, but you know, I'm very uncomfortable with maintaining this kind of arrangement. I think we need to maintain it as it was originally intended. And I think that work is complete.
Do you know, I don't remember what they all get. Do you have that off the top of your head?
What?
What does Barbara Cohn get per year?
Barbara gets about $1,500 a year.
Barbara does?
Yeah, and Jen gets half of that.
Okay,
So it's really an honorarium.
Yeah,
okay,
and it hasn't changed in the last 25 years or something like that.
yeah, well, you know, and then so Shuley was getting 4,000?
She's paid hourly
Okay, but 4,000 was allotted to her work for
for this year,
this year, for,
but it's done. It's
right, she used it up. Yeah, just so, you know, I'm just looking around, I reread the law pertaining to the historian. Then I found this blog written by the historian in Geneva. And it's like quite common, historians don't get paid at all. And that the Historical Society steps up and accomplishes a lot of that work. So I don't know if the Caroline History Association counts as the Historical Society here.
Or it needs to be the county assessor.
I have no idea. I mean, I think there's a Geneva Historical Society that, you know.
Well, you know, I think
So-
let's just, I mean, one of the difficulties that we have is obviously Shuley, who's worked extremely hard, done
Yeah.
great work. Had to do it independently and I don't think worked under any supervision
Right,
from
And not,
the librarian or anybody else.
Yeah.
And so, you know, to her credit, she had to take on all the, whatever she's been doing
mhm,
on her own. So nobody was there to say, hey, we're budgeted to do this.
yeah,
Let's stick with the program.
Yeah.
So that's certainly not her fault, but the fact of the matter is, the budget got expended.
She knew she had a budget.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
but it's interesting because Barbara just in her letter talked about how you need 2 people to do the inventory.
Mm.
So maybe Barbara's thinking we'll do that over the summer and that's when the money should be spent. I'm a little confused about this,
And
what she's thinking.
Well,
I
I
feel like
mean,
they
for
could
those
go-
of us who have worked with these kinds of materials,
Mhm.
one person can do this, where it just takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
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 Anyway.
And some of it is.
So we
The amount
should-
of time that it takes to take something out of a box and put it back in is, I'd say, exaggerated.
So we, you know, I don't want to spend too much more time on this. We have a big meeting ahead of us still.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think I've expressed my opinion clearly. Is that true? So,
Well, unfortunately, I just think we have to stick to the budget.
yeah.
so what's the remedy?
Well, my remedy would be what I said. So,
Let Shuley go,
so what?
let Shuley go.
Well, it's not.
She, no, I'm not letting her go, but if she wants to continue, it'll be on a volunteer basis.
The budget for the work has been expended. So we're not letting her go, the budget's just gone.
Or we could,
Your historian is requesting an extension, as I read the letter. And, you know, it would have been nice maybe if the historian had requested an transfer or whatever the proper term is. I need another $4,000 for assistance in the history room for the rest
right,
of
but
the
there was
year.
no amount offered. It was,
Right,
Can you
it was
read-
just-
can you read the end part again for me?
paper. Shuli is no longer working at the history room. The room will not be open to the public on Saturday and Sunday as it is currently. The community has become accustomed to more. The community has become more appreciative of the history of the town of Caroline due to her creative displays, articles, and the time she has attended to the history room. She is creative, helpful, and a willing worker. She could be an asset to any organization with which she is involved. The history room would like to have her stay to help complete the inventory.
Well, my solution would be to, hey, we're gonna recruit volunteers to
Help you
do
finish.
some of this stuff. Let's do that.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the tricky part, but. I don't want, tell me if I'm getting on topic, but I looked up that, sorry,
Probably not.
okay. I looked up the site that is a New York State Heritage site where you can upload photos, right? And instead of say Flickr.
Mhm.
I looked up and the Caroline History Association has been putting photos on that site.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have this duplication.
So that's the other, yeah, I think we need to answer both of those questions tonight.
We have this duplication of effort and they are all volunteers.
Right.
And I'm just gonna throw this in there. I know I've said this before, but as far as equity goes, I don't understand why the library is run entirely on volunteers. And the history room, the people working in the history room get admittedly a very modest you know, honorarium or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But why do they get money and the people running the library don't? That doesn't seem fair to me.
Well, I've always thought the honorarium was pretty modest.
Yes, it is. I mean,
And so, but this is not,
yeah.
this is not,
And
and
this is being presented to us as a salary.
Right, and Barbara, at the beginning of the letter says she had expected her to continue working, you know, on this inventory throughout the year, which I'm not understanding why.
yeah,
Possibly because she didn't realize that Shula was putting in so many hours already this year, but I really don't know. So, but I don't see reopening the budget at this point. I would think that the historian should put forward a plan, you know, and request for funds or something like that, and not just leave it open-ended, like, I want her to continue. I'm not sure what that means, you know, I mean, I don't even know what it's not, is it hourly, is it for how long? What does that
that's
mean?
the implication, for sure.
That's, yeah, the implication is just gonna be going on like it has been, but that's not acceptable. We need a better plan than that.
So,
If there is a request, it needs to be with detail and,
Structured.
Like how many
Well,
hours?
are you prepared, are you inviting a request? Because I am not.
no, I guess
No, definitely for next
that's
year.
not a request. That's
Yeah.
my thing. There's no detail in her letter.
And the other issue is, so, and I talked to Bart at the beginning, I said, you know, this is contractual, right? Because if it's not contractual, Shuli's an employee and we need to hire her as such. So, that's been,
And we've had other,
Yeah.
like, when Emily Adams was doing the light bulb thing.
that was, yeah, that was contractual.
That was contractual.
That was a
Similar to
clear
the was
contract.
done.
So,
Anyway.
so,
I think you lose probably Shuli to something else if you don't. I think she needs some sort of income. And, yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
that's not our issue.
it's not, it's, you know,
yes, it is.
well,
It is not.
Because I don't, where's the replacement for some, you know, you've never been able to attract somebody to do any sort of volunteer work up there, and where are these people just gonna
Well, that's
Who are
not
the people,
true, Cal.
all the people that are working for the Carolina Historical Association.
Yeah,
I happen to know there's a group of them that meet weekly to scan
There's a
materials.
great group of them, but,
So- so the-
but they don't seem to show up here.
Well, because maybe Barbara doesn't invite them or maybe whatever,
I think there's potential for sure.
yeah.
Don't you?
I mean, it's just, and to be honest. If those things don't get indexed or whatever, nothing's gonna happen to them.
That's true. There's.
I mean, it's probably better for materials to not be used personally, but I'm. Just rather keep them in the dark and don't let people touch them,
Yes.
and they'll last a whole lot longer. But,
That's useful.
you know, I think,
Maybe it should be, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have.
no, go ahead.
Maybe it's just a decision of the history committee. Not this board.
I don't, you know, I'm happy to
District
report on.
committee doesn't do budgets. The
Well,
budget is-
but we have a recommendation that, yes, we back the town historian that they'd like, you know, we'd like to see the town do a budget transfer and retain.
So what,
Or not.
right, so you're saying the history advisory committee, they're advisory to the town board, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I agree with that.
So what was your statement?
Let the history,
Let the history
invite
committee
the
tell
history
us.
committee to discuss the situation.
Just such a situation, just. Did you get that one, Jesse?
But I will say, it's our decision.
Yeah, we're not meeting it, and we're not meeting until June 29th
Yeah,
or the next,
so-
we had one meeting.
Yeah.
To get to know each other and,
But I think we're not, you know,
we're not gonna meet again until June 29th. So I don't think the history advisory committee is gonna be prepared to make any kind of
yeah,
recommendation.
Recommendation.
and, you know, it'd be one thing if they can add, I mean, we have the information in front of us, right? So,
So if we say, you know, we're not giving any more funding, we'd like there to be more outreach for volunteers. You
I mean, so that part, I think, would be a good history advisory committee thing to move.
Okay.
I don't want, I think all we're deciding tonight is there's this budget request and there's a request for a Flickr account. And we need to decide
The
that
budget
tonight.
request is open-ended, so it's a very difficult budget request.
Well, it's not, it's open-ended, but I think the implication is keep things as is. So we're 4 months into the year. At that rate, you know.
So it'd be what, another, let's just, another $12,000. $12,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's unacceptable. I mean,
Oh,
we
the
are,
total of $12,000, you know, rate that,
and that would put us where we were last year, at $15,000.
right?
I mean, we've already had discussions about increasing pay for the highway department, and I'm sure other people would love to have
Mhm.
pay increase. I just think it's a bad precedent to increase
Yeah,
things in the middle of the budget year.
Yeah.
Well, and this is a contractual situation.
yeah,
Yeah,
This isn't a salaried job.
exactly.
We don't have a salaried job. For
It's
the
not a
history.
job.
It's not a job. It's
It's not a job.
it's a contractual agreement
right,
and the contract has expired. The budget is.
right.
So and to the, Michelle brought up the Flickr thing there. I honestly, I mean, it could be something, this could come from the History Advisory Committee, but just looking at it from what's been described and what I saw on the computer, I don't see any reason to create a separate, I mean, it seems like there's all the reason in the world to use this existing New York State archive to do this.
Yeah.
If there's a functional reason that we can't do that, I'm all ears. But I think there's no reason to create a competitor site or anything, and the way, you know, listed on there, it says it has CHA in collaboration with the Caroline History Center or whatever, so,
You went to that site?
yeah, I looked at it, yeah.
The difficulty with Flickr is we maintain no control over the contents. It's a corporate entity.
Yeah,
When you put your photos up there, they become,
They're public.
they're public content,
oh, and so they could actually use them for something?
probably.
Oh,
Well, it is used,
There are all kinds of copyright issues with
Yeah.
with
It-
Flickr.
it is used, by a number of museums, including the Smithsonian, like if you,
No, it is, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they're,
But not, yeah, so I guess with the Flickr account, it's fine with me. But there's a certain amount you can do when it's still free, right? And it's free,
not
So-
that much, I don't think.
That's the way it is now.
yeah, I think she's.
And she wants to get the other ones
Oh,
which
so you hit the
doesn't
limit.
have
You hit
ads.
the-
Yeah.
Oh,
oh, I know, I thought it was just so we wouldn't have ads.
Oh,
Because there's like ads every 5 things, you have to sit there for
Oh,
5 seconds.
I didn't look through them
And then it
that
goes
closely,
through.
so,
So it wouldn't have advertisements, I really enjoyed going through them.
Yeah.
You know, she does have it organized, I had to find photos for the Safe Streets for All, I did talk to Sarah Michelle, like, I need photos of this.
Yeah.
And she found a couple, but actually Shuli had organized by Hamlet, and I was like, oh, this is easy.
yeah,
And I zipped through, and it was much easier than going on I was like on the Facebook page and got, overwhelmed, so. That was, I found it very helpful, I wouldn't have a problem with paying for the Flickr for 2 years and just see.
I think it's fine, I think it's fine with what's up there, I'm not sure we need any more.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I know people like museums and stuff, and they have Instagram accounts, I mean, I subscribe to the Smithsonian Instagram account, and it's more for promotion, right, it's not for information. And I don't mind doing that, but I'm not sure. You know,
I guess
we
one-
need to go to the next
Yeah.
step, I mean. I think I think we should also move to this New York State Archive.
Yeah,
That would
my
make
question
sense.
be, why, is there a good reason for us not to use the New York State Archive to do this and then go from there?
Okay, well, maybe we could find that out,
Yeah.
and that's
I
something the
mean, I was
committee
gonna
could
look it
ask
up,
about.
I looked it up, I mean, they're part of, it looks like for the New York State Archive, you actually have to go to a representative of your. District or whatever, and our district is the South Central Library Research Council.
Mhm.
And there's a person you contact. And so I was gonna contact them and just ask them.
Just find out more about the process.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be
the
great,
processes.
that'd be great, okay,
But
cool.
since the Carolina History Association already started the process, you know, I mean, it's.
Oh, I'm not saying,
It-
what I'm saying is, I wouldn't wanna start a separate.
Right,
I'm saying, why wouldn't we collaborate with them?
right.
And, but maybe there's a reason we can't, or it's not a good idea.
Well, I'll just talk to them, but also, I feel like it must not be that difficult, but they've already
Yeah.
started doing it.
Yeah,
can I ask just a follow-up question to the Flickr? So my understanding from what I've gathered now
Mm.
is that what she currently has is functioning,
Mhm.
but all that's being requested is an upper tier, so there won't be advertising.
that's
Yeah.
correct.
I say keep with what we've got
Well, that was kind of my,
until we
Figure this out.
assess
Yeah.
the situation, yeah.
we figured it out, because as you said, Kate, I mean, you found it really helpful.
I did,
So what's up there is really helpful, it can be really helpful.
yeah,
So-
I mean, I just had a cup of coffee and waited 5 seconds and then looked at the next, took another sip of coffee.
Um,
Yeah.
But then I mean, I talked to somebody who's more socially adept, but also social media adept. And they said they would recommend Instagram over Flickr, and so I'm just
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of curious to know why, because as I said.
I have no idea.
there's
They
plenty-
did recommend that.
Well, it's just a more robust platform, more
Well-
people use it,
Yeah, so,
that's all,
and
yeah,
it doesn't have advertisements, does it?
no.
So, you know, I guess I'm hesitant to
But
commit.
it
to-
probably has limits and it probably, it's tiered, I bet, in terms of.
Yeah,
Once-
I mean, I really think this is such a good subject for the committee work to make a recommendation.
Yeah, I guess I'll just say, I mean, because I'm gonna give a report, it's a little bit difficult to have a conversation, but.
I understand.
Yeah, I did it.
So, but we can plow through it, but I'm just not convinced it's worth investing. I know it's a small amount, but it's just kind of the principle of it. I'm not sure it's worth investing, upgrading Flickr, because I'm not convinced it's the best platform.
Right, I agree.
Okay.
Okay,
And I will check on this, contact South Central, and find out about this.
get some info.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah, because I think part of it is that people are just unfamiliar with it, but
Sure.
it's easy to inform people, like
Yeah.
when Becky DeWitt sent me the link. And she said the problem is it's difficult to educate people that this is available, but I think that would be easy.
Mhm.
I mean, you can have
That's-
links to it from I was looking through the web
Yeah,
page.
That would be, yeah,
We could do that.
okay,
That's the only problem. They're very well organized and they have
Yeah.
tons of information about each photograph and everything,
Mhm.
so.
okay, great. Are we done with that
I
subject?
hope so.
Okay,
Are you gonna write a letter to her or
thanks, everyone.
is somebody gonna write her a letter?
I wasn't gonna write a letter.
No, I mean.
I mean, about the,
I was about responding to
The
Barbara.
decisions?
Is anybody gonna respond to Barbara Cohn or no?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay, I will.
Okay,
That's a great idea. Okay,
just say we discussed it.
yeah, that's fine. I think that's appropriate. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what's the letter gonna say?
What's that?
What's the letter gonna say?
Oh, to Barb?
Yeah.
I'll say we discussed it and decided that the budget's spent for this year and I can't-
deeply grateful for
Yeah,
the work that
thank
has
you.
been accomplished.
Yeah.
That's what we budgeted for.
Okay,
I'll have to grab, I mean, it won't be that short, but and if you want, I can run it by you or we can work on it.
do you want me to pay that Flickr bill?
No,
No, that's not the point.
I think
I'd
that,
say to leave the Flickr with the ads for right now until we look at the different platforms and decide which is the one we should go with.
it's not the money, Cal. It's. And I mean, I just.
I mean, it's,
I mean, and it'd be inappropriate for me, but I guess, I don't know, I think about Liz Shuley, I think she's done a lot of work, effort, and
But the account is still there.
Yeah.
The only difference is we're not paying for an upper tier that eliminates ads. The account's still there.
it won't get rid of her work.
Right. And it's linked to from the new webpage.
So one thing I do want to say in my letter is how much we appreciate
Yeah.
what Julie has done. So,
And she's done a fantastic job. I mean, and
And it would be great if she would be willing to continue to work with the history room.
Right.
yeah.
on a
It's,
volunteer
it's-
basis.
Yeah,
it's always, I've worked with a number of places with a lot of volunteers and then people get paid and then people volunteer and it's really, really hard.
That's trouble.
It's trouble, to shift back and forth.
Yeah.
And
It creates animosity.
All right, thanks everybody for that discussion. So I'm gonna try to do my report really swiftly. And actually, I think I've saved us maybe one of our discussion items. Or at least abbreviated. So the first one I did elaborate up to today on where I am with the Deputron Hollow Road addressing, which I understand everybody has gotten a personal note about.
oh, everybody got one.
Yeah,
I didn't check, but I think so. But, so they are, the addresses, we did recognize they're irregular and a couple years ago, an address assignment ended up being a duplicate with one in Danby. And we have been working on this in fits and starts, and so there's a frustrated resident. I'm determined to resolve this for him. And the rest of the residents on this road. So I don't know if you've traveled Deputron Hollow Road. It's a little charming stretch between Danby and Caroline. And I will share this with you later. But here's the map that I'll circulate it. That's the map. It's that Steve came up with. I think it's about good to go. And so the reason these addresses are problematical is they don't satisfy the requirements and the needs of the 911 system. So if you have these confusing addresses, it could create real problems in locating homes. So there are 16 affected properties, 6 in Caroline, 10 in Danby. And so the last matter that we're trying, Steve is reaching out to the Brookendale Post Office to make sure they're apprised, and then I'm gonna check with the Department of Emergency Response and County 911 to make sure Kathy Ann's already reviewed it, but I'll do a double check there and then probably send a letter out by Friday to these residents. And I was kind of shocked to learn, I mean, this is a municipal responsibility.
Mm.
And so by resolution at the June 5th meeting, I will authorize these address changes and then we will do it. So I put in a little note about Brian Butner, who's helping us now. It's fantastic. He's in 9 to noon on Monday and Wednesdays. And he brought it up today. He noticed the code report. He said, I said, don't worry about it today. He said, I'll give you one next month that will be from when I started up to date. So
Right.
I was encouraged that he brought it to my attention. And he is working on getting things,
The sticky wickets.
yeah, and getting, I mean, and not just sticky wickets, but
Right.
there's a lot of building applications and people waiting for stuff, so yeah, it's just great having him available in the office for 3 hours a day, two days a week. It's wonderful. We've all been reviewing the subdivision review law. I got a report at this month's meeting was last Friday for my EMS planning group subcommittee with TCOG. And so from Joe Milliman at the Department of Emergency Response. So I just summarized a little bit there. Since their start on April 2nd, 110 calls. In April, 84 calls, 11 of them in Caroline. And the average time to arrive was 7 minutes overall and 9.6 minutes for Caroline. And they were canceled 13 times because an ambulance or rescue got there first. And an ambulance or rescue was canceled 5 times because they got there first. So, and they described a few particulars. They've been responsive, moved units upon need. I think Trumansburg had to move into Seneca County, and so Brookendale shifted westward and they moved around. So I'm pleased mainly because my colleagues at Emergency Response seem very happy with how it's working. So, and when I go down by the Brookendale Fire Hall, I see the truck.
I've seen these guys all over the county.
And I see them all over the place, yeah.
They were down the street from me.
Saw them in,
And, yeah,
Yeah, so,
in
Well, there's a
Freeville.
truck that's parked up on the corner of Buffalo and Baylor.
where?
Yeah.
Buffalo and Baylor.
Yeah.
I forget his name, that guy's name.
Right.
A white pickup?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. One of the,
Interesting.
so I think he must be one of them.
You know about this? Yeah.
just anecdotally,
Okay. Cool.
but I've seen the vehicle there too.
Yeah.
I spoke to them, during the election season, and they're both EMTs, so I think.
Oh,
And I think he worked for the sheriff's department before or something, so,
okay.
so that's nice.
Yeah.
Just,
Interesting. I think you all know this. I'm really sorry. I think I forgot to send you guys the soft launch, but I did today. So you can look at the new website and see what you think.
one thing about the EMS planning with TCOG, maybe they could put out a press release about how active it is.
Yeah, I'm sure they will at some
Okay.
point. So
It'd
yeah,
be good to have some positive press on that,
yeah.
so.
I think coming up sometime, there's gonna be some sort of award ceremony out there, so there'll probably be a press release associated with that, so. And Velvet got in the 2023 annual financial report to the comptroller's office in late April. That was good. And just earlier this week, we invited the representative from NY class at our last supervisors meeting on Monday, and so that inspired me to go ahead and I had Velvet join the meeting, so that was helpful because I'm always nervous about doing stuff like this. So so we're registered and that's gonna happen. We're gonna get our savings will be deposited with them. And that's my report.
Great.
Jesse. Do you have anything?
I'm sorry, I hadn't prepared anything for tonight, but
That's
things
cool.
have been quiet in the clerk's office. I've been spending time assisting Brian in the code office with files and different things that he needs as he's gotten settled in.
Yeah.
I turned in my clerk's report to Mark this week, and that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Jesse. That's great. And let's see, what else we got? Any committee updates?
Well, I have one for that. So the History Advisory Committee
Okay.
met.
And it's going to meet again.
And we talked about possibly meeting down here, instead of up in the history room.
Totally fine.
And
Just don't do it on course time.
yeah, so our next meeting is June 29th. So is there something we have to do to reserve the room or anything?
It would be good you can let Mike Ludgate know to put it on the calendar.
Okay,
And by golly, I have, June 29th?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
is that okay?
I'm fine, yeah.
all right.
Or we could use the conference room if we needed to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which
It's in great shape.
It's a little one there.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that'd be an excellent idea.
To what?
Start using the conference.
It would be
Oh.
perfect for your group in there.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
refrigerator and.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. How do you open the door? I mean, is it
Your
locked?
key,
Oh.
with the town key.
The town key, okay. Okay, so the first meeting is just getting to know, chit chatting,
Mhm.
you know, discussing stuff. We talked a little bit about the Flickr account, and because I was asking, like, just because we paid money to have those slides scanned. Remember, I remember the last time I said, when I did vouchers, I think it was
Mhm.
like $1,000 or something for scanning slides.
Yeah,
And I didn't know who did it, or,
yeah,
you know, so that's another thing about that budget, that $4,000, is that just time, or what about materials? Like if they buy materials for, that's gotta come out of that 4,000.
yeah, it's in the contractual line of the historian,
Okay,
so
so-
for everything, yeah.
So the scanning was, you know, just scan slides, and they were sent to a private contractor in Arizona who scanned them. And then I was just curious to know what happened to the images when they came back, like how are they stored, and,
Mhm.
you know, stuff like that. So we talked about that, we talked about those issues, and
An emergency kit.
I started talking about the emergency plan. I got people's contact numbers, and I started talking about part of an emergency or a disaster plan is that you create kits. Like in the library, we have
Things you need.
foot lockers,
Yeah.
right? And we have rolls of plastic, and we have gloves and paper towels and things like that. And you have them around so that if you suddenly had a leak, you could grab some plastic and throw it over your file cabinets or something.
Or even just spill coffee.
Yes,
Yeah.
that too. And the
Grab the paper
napkins are handy for that too.
Yeah.
So I just started introducing that topic and thinking about how we would start crafting the emergency plan, and where we would, people seem to be on board with it. Sometimes people don't like to have the Foot Locker format, you know. Anyway, people seem to be on board with that.
Is there space for it?
There's General Cantine's cabinet up there.
There's
You'll need to use it.
the space under display cabinets, and I'm sure they could find a place for it there. And anyway, so that's basically what we talked about.
That sounds pretty good. There is some sort of because Bart mentioned this to me,
Yeah.
that town has, not in my day, there's some sort of emergency response plan,
Yeah,
and I
so,
couldn't find it,
Okay,
but maybe
so-
Josie can help you.
all right, so, you know, as I talk to people, basically, I mean, a disaster plan is just a list of who you're gonna call.
Yeah,
So we need
and
to
that's what
know
it
who's gonna call to turn off leaks, and so that you know somebody can call people right away rather than,
Yeah.
who we get. It's not like, racing in to save things or
Mhm.
anything like that,
Mhm.
just wait till everything's over and. I mean, one thing we might wanna do is, look into vendors that do freeze drying and just make an arrangement with them.
Into vendors for what?
That do freeze drying, like
Oh,
we got
really?
a bunch of wet documents and stuff, people will come.
Just know who they are.
Yes, and you don't have to pay money or anything, you just contact them and you have their phone number and. They're not.
But then you have to pay them.
Well, yeah,
Makes
it's a
sense.
lot of money, but if you've got a bunch of wet,
Well, yeah, you don't have much time before the mildew sets in.
right, you
We
have
talked
48
about that.
hours, so
And this is a sprinkler system up here, right? So
we
that,
don't have a sprinkler system,
No.
we say,
Mhm.
so,
That's what
yeah,
it's for.
just,
no,
Because we don't have an adequate water source, they have a sprinkler system.
that's
oh,
right, might be just as well.
what is that?
Yeah.
What are those? That's just
Fire-
the fire alarm,
Smoke detectors.
smoke
Yeah.
detectors, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, we just started introducing those
Okay.
issues, and our next meeting is June 29th, and
Mhm.
we're gonna have a tour,
Great.
Nice,
so.
that's great.
And I guess the other committee is, as you know, we met with the planning committee last night,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh. The planning board met last night, and, I was there as the, town board liaison, and Marcus there to help them work Zoom, and they just discussed some of the priorities that, they have for the year. Bill's got a list, of things that the planning board can take up, which he sent me today. And, is that something you want me to forward to people, or?
It's not urgent, but at some point we'll wanna look over it and kind of give them our guidance for the next next
Okay.
project.
I'll send it out.
Yeah.
And then, they started doing some, a little bit of evaluation of the subdivision law, and it sounds like they're going to attend the workshop with Nan, May 29th.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
And they're kind of saving some of their comments for after that workshop, because they have questions that they want to see.
so,
Looking at
yeah, so, and I did get back to Bill today, cause I actually. Cause Bill kind of asked me and I said, well, yeah, it'd be okay if you ask your question, but. I'm actually gonna email the group and say, cause what my original email, both Craig and Bill, was if you have questions. That you think need to be addressed by Nan or Guy,
Mhm.
then. Or your group, pull those together and that's fine, and copy me, that would be nice. But I think so I do think it's not a great idea to invite that for this training.
Okay.
So and Bill and I discussed it today,
Mhm.
and he said, yeah, I was surprised that you offered that or whatever,
Oh.
but he kind of put me on the spot and
Yeah.
I felt like I blew it, but, I'm just gonna tell him, if you have questions, send them to Bill and he'll compile them and reach out to Nan or Guy and
Okay.
get it for you, so.
Anyway, it sounds like they're
Is
hoping
Brian
to.
invited to that training? Is Brian invited to the training?
He should be,
I just thought of that.
yeah, that's great, yeah.
Anyway, it sounds like they're hoping to get their discussions of the subdivision law completed by the beginning of June, right? Because the next.
Yeah.
We're gonna have another meeting June 4th.
Is that what they set that for June 4th?
Yeah, for the next.
So then we
meeting
meet
of
June 5th.
The next
So
meeting
we're
of the
probably not
planning.
gonna have feedback from them by June 5th, right? That's almost immaterial that they meet before a meeting. Oh, too bad. Anyway,
That is,
that's what it is.
well, I have to say about the subdivision or the planning board.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Do you want to talk about broadband to bring people up?
As
to-
briefly as possible,
As briefly, yeah.
what's there to talk about? Go ahead.
I just want to say we're still waiting to hear from the state about the grant that we applied for with Dryden.
True.
Yes, I'd hope to hear by now. And that, do you want to talk about the county situation or no?
No,
Okay.
They're putting their proposal in.
Yeah, okay, there,
So-
and then and we've told Hunts to go ahead with the USDA
That is good that you mentioned that. Yeah.
So that's,
Did you gather that, everybody? Yeah, so,
that's another grant, then kind of a backup grant.
Yeah.
So we've got, yeah, so that's.
good, thank you.
Sure.
Highway, we talked to Jeff Smith, just, through Brookendale, getting some speed monitoring, some feedback on speed and some speed enforcement. I talked to the person in charge of road patrols at the sheriff's office, and they are willing to step it up a little bit, enforcement through Brookendale. The county will place one of those box speed things that collects data
Yeah.
and can give points to the sheriff that can work with the sheriff.
Those things also collect data.
Yeah,
That's great. I
Yeah.
didn't,
I mean, also,
Yeah. Even when they're
speed,
turned on.
I did not.
speed and time, so.
But this isn't a your speed is sign, it's something else?
Yeah, it says your speed is, but it's also saying
Oh, it
your
collects the data.
speed is at
Okay,
6:34 AM.
gotcha.
Right,
Going.
gives the data,
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
and then when they're turned off, they're still
So-
getting data, so.
Yeah,
that
well,
shows
their systems
how
are a
people
lot more.
respond to it.
And they're these little boxes about the size of a bale of hay on a trailer.
Hmm.
They've got 6 of them and they're being kind of deployed over the next couple of weeks, so we should see.
Huh.
And he might even move it up to Covington.
Yeah,
I did notice there was I guess it was a state police up by the school for a
Oh,
week or
they've
so.
been there almost every day for the past
Yeah.
month.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's a real little gold mine down there.
I bet.
yeah,
Cause, okay, so there's that briefly, the ag committee,
Can I just say to add to that, that I've also heard from the people on Coddington Road wanting to know again what the timeline is for the state. So I write back and say, we don't know, it takes a while, bear with us.
right.
Thank you, Tim.
yeah, so just some police presence does a
Take her
lot.
off this time.
I
I
yeah.
got Brock Gibeon, you got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all got Brock Gibeon.
I did tell her, what was her name on Connington Road? I did tell her it's over a year a lot of times. The state gets around to it.
Oh, heck yeah.
I told her that sometime,
The
You know,
ag,
she just is
pushing.
pushing.
the ag
Which is
committee met
fine.
last Thursday. Monica's, as Roth has suggested that, in June, we make a presentation, that she makes a presentation to the board about, what's in the ag and farmland protection proposals. And then we will have a, farming community meeting sometime in July, but to kind of present, just as a preview to the board, what we've been discussing is farm and ag land protection policies.
So the ag committee wants to make a presentation at the June business meeting, is that right?
Yes,
And Erica will do that, or
Monica.
Monica? Oh, and do you know how long that would be?
20 minutes. after
Okay.
lunch.
So Monica's doing it because of the grant? Is that why Monica?
I think she's just. She's skilled at this. She's done a lot of other farm and ag land and probably better,
I was just wondering, you know.
prepared to, answer any questions that we might have.
Okay,
So,
got it.
so anyway, so that's about all I.
That's a lot.
report. Cemeteries, Chance. Chance Tibbles is gonna be mowing those again this summer.
Yeah.
He did a good job last year.
He's great. That's great.
Yeah, he got to town hall the other day,
Yep,
got them dandelions down.
lawns are growing fast.
Mhm.
They like grass, like school wet weather. That's what it's had the last 3 weeks. So anyway.
Great, thank you for, especially reaching out to Jeff Smith, and that's cool.
He's a really good guy.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll kind of. Well, just stay, gotta stay on him. Because they got so many demands and,
Yeah.
Coddington Road and speed, they're just.
We can be a
they're
little
spread-
patient, but
Yeah,
I mean, frankly, all the roads are a mess.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, the speeding is just a problem
It is a
everywhere.
problem.
We've got there's three vehicles that control the
Yeah.
whole county.
Yeah,
And then there's the state police too, but they're just,
Yeah, they can't do it.
there's,
Okay. Oh, very good. Shall we move on?
Mhm.
We ready to move on to the? We've got 10 minutes left, so, so I'll offer resolution to, for these additional services from Labella that, I think everybody saw that and had a chance to think about it. Everybody. Not gonna read the resolution, I'll offer it. Does anybody want to second it?
I'll second it.
Kate, any questions? Couple little emails, I'll make sure I think those were within the understanding, but I'll make sure one thing that I wanted to make sure is that they let us know what the difference would be between a 1-story and 2-story, if they give us a 2-story, you know, kind of
financially, yeah.
financially and space wise, you know, yeah, so I'll make sure that that's clear. Great, am I ready to call for a vote? Yeah, I do that, okay. I will call for a vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous, thank you. And then, Mike has provided me some resolutions. This is just to comply with the requirements for getting us recertified as a climate smart community. So apparently I need to authorize him to submit materials. So I'm offering a resolution to authorize Michael Brown to submit materials on behalf of the town to NYSERDA for clean energy community actions.
second,
Seconded by Cal. And any problems with that? I'm gonna call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. That's unanimous. That was Cal. And I will offer in a resolution to amend the town's recycling policy established by resolution 116 of 2019. And so basically it's just committing to providing recycling bins in all of our common areas and at every employee's desk. So Mike asked me to make a friendly amendment to the first resolved, I will make it. And I have this written down, Jesse, so I can bring it in tomorrow, but resolve, the Caroline Town Board hereby establishes a policy that properly marked recycling receptacles will be placed, that's fine, in all common areas in our town buildings, parentheses, such as kitchens and copies rooms, close parentheses, and at every employee's desk. And then that'd be semicolon and further be it resolved.
Could we have an amendment, a friendly amendment, instead of every employee's desk, every office?
I'd support that more.
I mean, you've got,
I took the verbiage that Mike gave me,
all right.
and I'm worried about like where Jesse and Velvet work. That's an office, but if they have 2 desks and they each have a trash can, and
Well, they do each. have a
I
picture.
think that NYSERDA might be
Okay.
wanting it to
No,
be.
that's exactly
right
what I
next
was
to
thinking
the-
of.
one-
Yeah, I think they have to match. the
Yeah,
trash
so
can.
I would like to leave
All right.
that, okay,
I mean, that was the example had on my mind.
yeah. Any other thoughts?
Just ask Jesse and Velvet what they'd like.
I think there's a requirement from NYSERDA that.
This is-
I actually have 3 receptacles in my office.
I think.
Yeah, you only have 2.
That's a
I think
violation
it
of this
has to,
resolution.
Match the number of trash cans has to match the number of.
Oh, yeah, did I
recycling
have that in here now?
cans. No,
Oh, wait, so,
that's just what I.
yeah,
From the
and I
conversation I
thought I
had.
had that in
Yeah, it
here.
says the 11 trash receptacles. I don't see every desk.
In tandem, that's how I did it, provided
In
in all
tandem with each of the 11 trash
properly
receptacles
marked.
in town buildings.
So that does kind of say that it's with the trash cans.
Mhm.
There's no trash receptacle.
There is over there usually by the corner.
There is.
And there's no recycling.
So maybe I should say a policy that properly marked recycling receptacles will be placed. Oh, good God. So,
With each trash receptacle,
Yeah, in tandem is good, but you just don't. do you have
tandem
number?
with each.
With each.
I don't think I
trash-
have to have the number,
Yeah,
the
just
new
say-
wording,
In tandem with each of the trash receptacles or something. What's wrong with that?
in tandem with each of the trash receptacles, well,
Within-
yeah, with each of the, in all of our, okay, yeah, okay.
Within proper tossing distance. Sorry.
So I will, yeah, with, in tandem with each trash receptacle. Each of the trash receptacles. In all common areas, blah, 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 okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Does that sound good? Okay, well, let's adopt it and see if NYSERDA likes it. Okay, all in favor? Aye, opposed, great. And I guess I'll do this last one. I'll sign an email indicating that we might not need it, but offer a resolution affirming the town of Caroline utilizes the most recent version of New York State's Unified Solar Permit. And I won't read the resolution, but that's all we're doing.
It's a no-brainer.
Seconded by Tim, I agree, no brainer. And all in favor? Aye, opposed, yeah, thank you all, okay. Wow, we blasted through that, eh? Okay, so I blasted through and of course did a sidestep around the heart of this meeting, which we now have 4.5 minutes to do, which is not true. We can stay a little later, right? But
Could I ask just quickly if we've heard anything about the restoration of this old building? I meant to get a hold of, and I haven't. I don't know if you've
yeah,
heard
no,
anything.
Susan,
Yeah,
I'm gonna contact. So I need to hear back from the state. We don't have a contract.
Yeah.
So we're frozen. So
okay.
we're still in that, but I am concerned that it's been so long, so I'm gonna follow up with
For
Amanda.
right now, we're in a holding pattern,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
or whatever,
we sent these deeds for easements up to the state and now
and
they're
just
up there.
if we could all maybe over the next couple months thinking, well, if we don't get the grant, what are we gonna do?
Oh,
Oh, we're gonna get the grant. Which
Where's
is,
the grant?
we got the grant.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, you're a pessimist, I can tell. You're skeptical.
Well,
Don't worry. Do you know something I don't?
no, I don't. No,
Okay.
not at all. I just,
Okay. Okay, so I would like to bear down now. So what I'm gonna propose is to go over the comments we got from the review board. And I'll take any other thoughts you all have. Obviously, I don't, with what's going on with the planning board, they're not complete of their review yet. So, I guess what I'm thinking, and like 2 days ago, Guy sent his review of the last thing, so I need to see what Nan thinks about all that, and anyway,
but the date on Guy's thing was March 6th.
Yeah.
Why did I just get it today?
because I forwarded it today, so I apologize.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just shared it today, that I realized, I sent it copying Nan and Tim, but he replied, and then I was thinking everybody got it, and I was like, okay,
And that happened back when Nan was working on the document.
right, that was.
So it was before
That was
the-
early in the, and I had talked to you guys about. What do you think about just doing away with the exemptions? And that was my recommendation to Nan, and it turns out Guy thought that was a pretty good idea. And so, yeah, so, I just thought, he makes a few comments in there that are helpful and that I feel like I still need to go back through and make some edits on. But okay, I'll try to bear down on this, so. the first issue that came up was lot line adjustments. And they recommended that lot line adjustments not be included as subdivisions.
I agree with that 101%.
Okay, so, and I'm okay with that too. And I think, what do you
Yeah,
think,
no, I think that's all right.
Michelle?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
okay.
Fine with me.
And I looked at the Danby subdivision law, they do theirs that way, so, or Dryden, so anyway. And I think, yeah, so I'm in favor of that, so, lot line. So that will be my proposal, I'm jumping the gun, but that would be my proposal, to have that single one, so. Okay. This, on page 1 of Jean's notes, there's a second bullet. That the law be written to distinguish between subdivisions, meaning the simple subdivision of a larger parcels of land into smaller parcels when there is no overall plan for larger housing subdivision and residential or development subdivisions when the review board is being presented a plan for development. So.
Wait, so which comment is
I
this?
thought it, I got confused about this, because I thought we had like the one for the minor ones
Yeah.
and the major ones.
We do.
So what is she looking for here?
I don't know. So you'll see what's embedded in here is. Here, it's this clause, when there is no overall plan for larger housing subdivision. So they're like, what subdivide a piece of land? And nothing's gonna happen on it. But subdivision is about subdivision of land. That document that I shared you, that's explicit. And so,
Well, Guy's recommendation for that
Yeah.
is that a subdivision is a subdivision regardless of
what
what happens in it.
That's right.
So he was quite adamant that we not make more distinctions.
right,
And I could see why.
I can see why too.
So you agreed with his assessment on that?
I do, yeah. I mean,
You agree with his assessment on that?
I do.
Michelle?
Yeah, I'm just confused. What, are you looking at Guy's comments or?
No, I'm going through Jean's minutes.
Jean's
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
That I shared today.
Yeah,
I mean,
so the thing I
got
saw was Bruce Murray's thing is being the next.
Oh, I'm way beyond that because
Okay.
that's on lot line adjustments and we're done with that.
Oh, well, Bruce Murray's comment was about getting rid of that language about
Oh, the character.
character and all that.
Karen,
Oh, I'm sorry, Mitch, where is it?
As Bruce Murray noted the
Skip
section, oh wait, no,
Is it on page 1?
yeah,
Oh,
oh.
yeah.
The sixth bullet in this section be removed, that is all proposed lots be so laid out as to be in harmony.
I know I
with the
did make a note about this, oh, there it is, yeah, I got you.
Okay, so, I mean, it's a small comment, but, you know,
So,
That's fine.
okay, so what do you think? Thank you for pulling me back to that. Let's see, S-102.
I feel that we've discussed the use of character, we left it in the zoning law.
yes,
And I feel like I'm repeating myself, but when I went to the training about how to change the zoning law and when there were problems with zoning laws, that the court often relies on things like character and, you know, to give them a guide on what was intended in the law. I would like to keep this in there. I think it's fun,
yeah, I think.
especially if it brings people back to remember there's a town comprehensive plan and the zoning law.
And it does end by saying in compliance with the town of Caroline zoning laws.
Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty definitive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
development plan, neighboring properties and character of the land in town, so. Yes, it
Okay.
relies on the judgment.
I agree
of
with
the
you.
citizens.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tim, you,
Yeah, this is just, we've discussed this
Okay.
5 million times over
Yeah.
the past 3
Okay.
years. and-
So,
okay, great, but in this context, it could have been different, I just
Right.
want to know what you guys think, so I agree.
okay.
Especially when we're doing a conservation subdivision,
Mhm.
things like this really matter, so,
And this law, this subdivision law has to jive with the zoning law, which is the whole point of revising it.
Okay, so, all right, so that, we're not gonna take, we're.
Great, okay, good, thanks,
All right,
Michelle.
Then it's back to lot line adjustments.
Mhm.
All right, so now you're talking about the law be written to distinguish between subdivisions.
A simple,
Well,
yeah, a simple subdivision,
Yeah,
and then there's residential and development. And then we were talking earlier about a rural subdivision, so I was just thinking we've got lots of different subdivisions, so I went back and I looked at it and I thought we've got the minor and major subdivisions, and that's what we've got.
yeah,
That is a very common construction in subdivision laws, and I asked Nan, is that, you know, for the 4 to 5
Yeah.
cutoff there, and she said, yeah, that's typical, so I said, okay, that's fine, so. And I think it's important, I was discussing this with Bill today, actually, pointing out that Section 405 is waiving submission requirements, I think is really important. So as part of sketch plan application, the subdivider may request that the review board waive the requirement for the submission of particular information as required in Section 802 of these regulations as part of the minor preliminary plat or the final plat application. So that's both minor and major. That should major, okay. Question mark, okay. Anyway, that's page 11 on mine.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm pointing that out is that I think this is what Guy is saying, this gives the review board total flexibility in determining what's required for a particular application. So if grandma's splitting off an acre lot for, you know, somebody, then they can say, well, all you need is a survey map and, you know, they can be minimalist about it.
The zoning law says the same thing.
Yeah.
The zoning law says that the review board at its discretion
Mhm.
can waive submission of this or that.
Yeah.
So it's just mirroring now.
Okay. So that would be my answer to Jean's question about that. Is that okay with everybody, or? The question, so there's a hollow bullet point. We think that much of the law duplicates wording from the zoning law, which may not be applicable to lot line adjustments and subdivisions. And I wanted to look at this more carefully because Guy brought up some of these things in the email I shared. So I kind of wanted to go back to like site plan review and see if there are, you know, things that, I don't know, aren't
I
really.
was struck by the language and in Jean's minutes where and it happened 2 or 3 times, I think, where the review board kept saying, well, that's site plan, that's zoning.
Yeah.
And I think probably after Nan does her session,
Yeah,
that might clarify it, because there really isn't now such a strong distinction between site plan and zoning. Site plan is part of the zoning law.
mhm,
And I think that this is gonna take a little while for everybody to understand how
mhm.
these things are meshed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
how that fits into the process.
Yeah,
And I think it's gonna take us a while. I've always said this, we've talked about this a lot, even to parse it administratively, and it's just part of the process, you know?
mhm,
Because in essence, the review board is going to be engaged with reviewing zoning as part of site plan.
Right.
You know, they're not completely distinguishable.
Yeah.
Which is why the language is duplicated.
that's right. Well, yeah, and I don't have to tell you, everybody, that, you know, we have places in the zoning law that, you know, this is a review board responsibility.
Yes,
So,
it's spelled out quite clearly.
yeah, so,
So I just noted, I mean, it's just something I noticed in the language, and I just realized that, you know, it's gonna be a learning process.
Okay, great. Next page, S-106 definitions. Remove road private. You know, I guess I am a little conflicted about that. So I want to talk to Nan about, and Guy about removing road private. I don't know.
I guess I don't understand his objections. I mean, just because they're not regulated, you can still have a definition for it, right?
Right.
Seems like it's been a hot topic, button topic along.
Really?
I guess I was thinking that if you're looking at a development and they have a private road on it, you need to be able to label it private road, you know, on a map or to discuss it, versus, you know, public road, like. So I could imagine a development being made and they've got the public road and then they've got a private road leading down, I don't know, to another section or something. And they've got to label it something and it needs to be defined, or they've got to call it something, it needs to be defined.
Yeah,
So I would just leave the definition in there.
I don't understand the problem of having the definition in there.
Yeah,
I just, my
Yeah.
comment was just, it seems like it's been brought up kind of controversially several times.
Yeah, I don't understand the controversy.
Yeah.
No.
When did you hear that? During the zoning discussions or?
Yeah.
Really?
No, that one I don't know.
Okay,
Whatever, but I don't think it's wrong to have.
I'm gonna ask Nan about it, if what's going on there. So,
Yeah,
And that's the definition, even if the definition doesn't use the definitions.
Or didn't Guy mention about something about definition between roads and driveways too, and get his driveway a private road?
did he in this? snap?
well, on their comment here, is driveways need a definition, and so that would, if you had a definition of a driveway, that would,
so
Be a
maybe
private
that's-
road.
no, that would solve that problem.
Yeah,
it does talk about driveways needing, if the river for the 500 feet long, they've got to have a big place for the fire engine to pull in
Right.
and, you know, so that is in there,
Or usually a driveway serves 1 to 2
right.
residences. And there are fire codes
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
delineate the turnaround for, depending upon the number of
Right.
residences on a driveway, which is different from a private road.
So I agree that
It's
You
dimensional.
agree what, Michelle?
the driveways need a
Yeah,
definition.
just do a definition.
Looks like it's a private
There is a
road.
driveway definition though,
yeah,
right?
this is for,
Is there not?
yeah, new division, new development, right? I mean, it's not. I can think
I don't know,
of
they
Mill
just-
Street, Brooktondale became a private road.
Let me,
Yes.
they just said that it needed to one in the, oops.
I know I found driveway in here.
Don't see it.
I think it's with something else, so it's kind of hidden.
And then there was another place where Guy said, well, you got too many definitions.
Yeah, that was what I was referring to before, like, he was referring to things that are not he did not think were germane or appropriate for subdivision review for that process.
Okay, yeah,
So that's where I wanted to go back and
Yeah.
because. yeah,
pull those things
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
So, anyway, I won't, so, okay, I'll make sure we have a driveway
And that
definition.
all being said also that from the very beginning, Guy has expressed that he was uncomfortable with our current subdivision, parts of our current
Mhm.
subdivision law anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, there is no definition of driveway in here.
No,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it goes from design guidelines to EAS. So. I'm looking at definitions.
yeah,
Right, but I think I found it where it was listed with something like roads, comma driveways or something
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so well, maybe.
Let me do a search for driveway.
Road,
road, private,
road, private, blah, blah, blah,
road, public.
any street, sign out line, not dedicated.
Anyway,
It
it's
doesn't
not,
say anything about driveway in there,
yeah,
No,
so maybe I'm wrong.
so I think it needs, I think we need a definition.
Maybe, yep, okay, I've got that circled, so.
Okay,
No, I did see something about a driveway because it talked about the angle it has to be from the road. and
Yeah,
how-
exactly.
Yeah,
But it's not,
Yeah.
it may not be in the definition section.
Yeah, maybe it's not.
Just
It might be,
just a description.
it's just a
Yeah.
description and like some other part of it.
Right.
I will find it, but we don't have to do it now.
But if it's not, there's just saying that, I just put it in the definition so that you don't have to look for it,
Right.
right?
Right.
okay,
Simple.
so it needs a definition.
Yeah. Because if I was looking up a definition, I would go to definitions and then go alphabetically and it's not there.
So, it's D under, where's that? Section 302, by the way, talks about driveway.
But that's not in the definitions, right?
No, it's not in definitions,
So-
but it talks about streets and driveways.
So if it talks about it, then you, all the more reason
We
to
need
have
a
a
definition.
definition.
Yeah, so I will do that. I'll find that. So I'm moving on to Article 2.
Okay.
S 201. And 202. And so first of all, so we're gonna remove lot line adjustments from that. So
Mhm.
lot line adjustment getting yanked out. I actually, so for 202, I thought it was fine. So the changes I suggested, or I thought would help maybe address their concern was for under 202, then 3, worded submission of either minor subdivision application, Article 5, or preliminary plat. Where's it go? Preliminary plat for major subdivision application and review fee. So, and then it's A, review board review. B, Tompkins County 239, C, public hearing. D, decision on minor subdivision plat. Or decision on preliminary plat, that would be if it's a major subdivision application. And then 4 would start with major subdivisions. To clarify that this applies to major subdivision, then say applicant prepares final application, Article 8. Submission of final plat application and final review fee. And then a public hearing only if not insubstantial, only if final plat, not in substantial agreement with preliminary plat. Section 704. So
Good.
I thought those were minor changes
Yeah.
to clarify that, but you don't want to list the processes separately because they're almost the same.
Yeah, 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 right, I
So,
agree.
okay. And so we got that. Section 301. So this is something that I would have, no, that can't be right. No.
What is their recommendation for 301? What is the issue?
Well, it doesn't make sense because it says, after discussion, we agreed that water quality, oh, this is A and B. This capital A and capital B, what is that?
Water quality is 302.
Yeah, it says 301 and 302.
301.
Oh, and A is water supply.
Article 3, 301 and 302.
Okay,
So what's recommended for 301? Anything?
Unless they want to get rid of that, comfort, convenience, safety, health and welfare of the town.
what's that, Michelle?
Unless they want to get rid of the part about the housing, transportation, comforts, convenience, safety, health and welfare of the town.
I thought they wanted to get rid of F and G.
Oh,
I'm really missing something here, I'm afraid.
So it says, after discussion, we agree that water quality and water supply are the only attributes that the review board consider. The other issues come under zoning.
Does that mean C, D,
I
E?
guess all the way down through C through G. But then it says they
Erosion.
should add agriculture. Yeah.
But this
They have
is
to be
where,
under zoning.
this is where zoning and site plan intertwine. I mean, of course, if you have
You
a
mean the subdivision?
site plan
Yeah.
subdivision, if you have a
Yeah.
subdivision proposal with streets, driveways, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera,
Right.
as part of that proposal, they do need to conform to the zoning law.
I mean, I guess I'm
So-
confused. Wouldn't the review board be making judgments on whether it adheres to the zoning plan?
Well, I would assume,
I mean, I thought they did.
right,
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a training issue, so.
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's a training situation.
Okay.
I just don't see, so you go A, B, F. All these things, you know, public utility services in a major subdivision, they definitely have to consider that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Streets and driveways, are you kidding me?
Flood hazard.
So nothing, this doesn't make sense. I don't,
No, but I see what happened.
you do?
Logically, I see what happened.
Okay,
They're distinguishing between what's in the old subdivision law
aha,
and what's new in the zoning law, and they're calling that zoning. And that would be done by the zoning
by somebody else,
officer, by
yeah,
somebody
by
else.
the zoning officer, yeah.
But no, if it's, once something goes to the review board, the
Mhm.
review board is responsible for the entire package.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I would think so.
And there's a real reason for
Yeah.
that, because also, there. Part of the logic of all of this also is that there's an appeals process
Yeah.
built into this process, so that if the review board refuses to do something, it can be appealed to the ZBA.
Yeah.
If the code officer refuses to do something, there's no appeal.
Yeah,
It has
that's
to go to
take it to the
state
state, yeah.
court. So all of that was baked into the zoning law.
Yeah,
It's like we need a flow chart.
and we can do that,
Well,
I thought of that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of what we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So then what are we going here? F, agriculture, F, E, F,
It's really interesting. It's real, just, it's a learning process.
Well, this one says they should add an ag data statement. But actually F is flood hazard protection. Oh, agriculture, okay,
so my F is flood hazard prevention.
yeah, but that's a new F, I think, and then if you go down below it, it says agriculture.
Oh, really?
Proposed subdivision shall not result in unreasonable impacts on existing agricultural operations.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. And they're saying they should include an ag data statement.
I think the ag data statement belongs somewhere else. I think it's already in there, but I'll ask.
The ag data statement is part of,
Yeah,
is part of the, it is part of zoning law, but it's part of the submission process.
yeah, that's what I
But it
think.
can be put in here. I mean, it's in the zoning law,
Yeah, right.
and it's a town law
Right.
also. It's a separate town law that you're required to do that.
Okay. I think that's questionable. G is energy, so yeah, this is funny. So yeah, this is so funny, I brought it up in the meeting and I didn't understand the answer, but anyway, this is what we revised. We added this energy stuff in 2018. So they're saying it's not appropriate for
But it's there.
there, so, okay. Move on. 406. So we don't really need to worry about this lot line adjustments. They're not subject to seeker if we don't put them in as subdivisions, so that's all a moot point.
Okay,
Or 6, they want the word location in.
Okay. S 406. That's gonna go away. 6. I don't see location.
Yeah, because
Is
it's
that
so,
the seeker for a six?
the secret classification. Said it should not be struck through, but I don't see where it is struck through.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't even see it. Hmm. Is anybody getting that?
No,
The location, yeah, I couldn't find it when I was looking at it.
Oh, really? And then this natural cultural. This isn't even about, what is going on here? She misnumbered it or what?
The areas proposed for land disturbance.
Okay, I'm gonna put a question mark there. I have lots of question marks. Okay, S503, never mind. To be accomplished.
they're gonna discuss that with me. The
With-
503, S503,
Yeah,
okay.
with Nan, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
This is the, yeah, the ongoing question, which to do with qualitative guidelines.
So this is about acceptance of roads, S601. This is something. They thought Nan's language should be removed and the previous language should be retained.
Anybody have the previous language in front of them?
Pardon me?
Anybody have the previous
It's
language?
crossed out, right?
Yeah, I'll read it.
The-
The purpose of town board review is for the town board to have an opportunity to review proposed subdivisions where the town of Caroline will be asked to accept any offer of dedication of public highways or other public facilities, or to accept financial guarantees for the completion of any required infrastructure in the subdivision. The town board review, when required, shall occur after the review board has approved a preliminary plat, but before filing of a final plat application.
And then they want to delete the last two sentences.
So then the ones that Nan wrote,
Yeah,
So is there concern that, is there concern about when the town board reviews it, is that sentence, is that what they want back in?
I don't know, I
You
think
know what I mean?
maybe,
That seems to be the only significant.
I thought they were saying that they want. In their note, they said they want the town board to approve it. They don't want to say they approve it before the town approves it. And
Right.
accepts it,
right,
because they don't want to mislead them. I thought it was pretty clear. That. Just because they, I mean. Acceptance of formal offers of dedication of streets, blah, blah, blah. May be made at the sole discretion of the town board. I would say will be made, but.
That's legal.
But yeah, the town board shall have no obligation. I would think it's pretty clear that approval by the review board of a subdivision plan shall not be deemed to constitute or imply the acceptance by the town of any roads.
They want it to be clarified that the town board does this first. I think that's what
Okay.
they're saying.
I think they, I think
I
they,
think.
yeah, and they wanted to be clarified that. Even, I think that this has to be accomplished first before things go any further.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I'm just thinking of Fuller Lane here when Mark did this little thing up there and, they wanted us to accept that Fuller Lane as a town road. And, I mean, because we were taking.
And you did, right?
We did, but there was, I think it was incumbent on the town board to make sure that, they had the final say, because they were gonna be taking over the maintenance upkeep require,
Right,
Right.
right.
public.
And do you remember that process when that happened? Is that what you're saying? Did it happen after the fact or?
Yes,
It did?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
that was.
but
But then there's a place down in Brooksondale off Eastman Road. it was called, that the town didn't take because it's just
Oh, really?
not well built enough and it's still a
Correct.
private road and they have to deal with it.
And they didn't
But
want,
there are about 10 houses on it.
yeah,
So I looked up in the Danby law, it says no preliminary plat approval shall be complete until the subdivider has applied for and obtained preliminary acceptance
subdeveloper.
of a dedication.
Subdeveloper, not subdivider. Well, I guess the developer is the subdivider maybe, but
Yeah, that's what, that's the
Whose
language they
note is
use.
that?
Huh?
Whose note is that?
Mine,
Here,
I looked that up today.
oh, in the current one.
I looked up this online in Danby's law.
Oh, I see.
That's what I did. So I just as an example, I thought, oh, this is how they dealt with it.
Yeah.
But,
I guess that's the issue, right? It's just the order of things.
it is, I think it is the order of things. And at first, like, I had a conversation with Bill where he thought the order of this Article 6 was weird, but I think I understand why. I think, we can change the order, but I think, let's see, Article 5 is. Article 5 is, yeah, minor subdivision review. So basically, minor subdivision review happens for all projects, minor and major. And at the end of that process is when you would want to know about the roads
Yes,
before you do the final plat. So that's why it's here.
yes.
and you also want to, I remember with Fuller Lane, you want to be verifying what, one engineer's
Hmm,
has said. And were things done? It's just verification,
yeah,
it just, because once it's done,
well, yeah, so that's. Yeah, interesting. So,
I just remember that it was because we didn't have rules and guidelines in place at the time. It was just,
that was before 2002 probably, right?
yes,
So there was no subdivision law.
People just put up roads. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember when Wally Sarsfield put up the road across the street from me.
yeah,
Just put it up.
yeah.
You can't do that. Yes, you can.
Now the town has to take care of it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the problem.
We're moved past that now.
Yeah.
So, what is the board's recommendation on this? Do I need to work on it with Nan or something and see if
I mean, I have no problem adding that clarification about,
what I read?
the order of things, if that's the recommendation. I think my understanding is they just want to spell out more,
Run it by hand.
but ask Nan.
I'll see.
I mean,
Yeah,
there might be an issue we're not
I
aware
could,
of.
I
Why-
could talk to Craig too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and why did she pull those sentences out at the beginning,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, okay, that's good. We'll
Yeah.
dig in on that.
we don't need to spend too much time on this.
Yeah. No, we don't.
How much longer are we gonna keep going? I feel like I'm ready to fold.
Say that, Cal, you get,
I wonder how much longer we're gonna go. I feel like I'm ready to fold.
it's pretty late.
I think.
I
we can
think-
Stop now.
Maybe we should stop.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not gonna finish tonight. Let's stop.
Yeah.
And, what do
We've
you want me?
accomplished a lot.
So we're up to Article 7, right?
Yeah, I have some notes here.
Alright.
So what I'm gonna do is,
Because we might have to go back to this once the
right? Yeah,
planning board comes to us.
That's true.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
okay, great. We have a couple more things that I forgot to do.
Pay the bills.
Yeah, that's one of them in so I'll offer a resolution to pay the bills. A 52,671.28, DA's 26,202.07. Streetlights 422.31.
I second it.
question,
Oh,
does that include that one bill?
I fixed it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Kate. Any other good questions? Thank you for catching that. Yeah. All in favor? Aye, opposed, great, bills are approved. And, then, any comments on the minutes of May 1? Did people get to look at them?
I looked at them, I thought they were good.
Good. Okay, minutes of May 1 are hereby approved, thank you. And it is 9:33 or something like that. I think we should adjourn.
I'm just, for public information, I'm not gonna be at the next meeting.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna be in Europe
Oh.
So you'll miss.
on working, but I'll miss.
Oh, yes, working hard.
People work in Europe.
So you missed the.
I know, I just.
Okay,
June meeting.
okay, great. All right, offer resolution to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Michelle, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Jesse.
Where you going? I forgot.
Good suggestion. Yeah.